The moment I stepped onto the crimson sands of Zareth, 9, I realized I was completely unprepared for what awaited me. The sky above burned with swirling orange storms, lightning crackling like the last breaths of some dying star. My crew had insisted I stay behind, saying the retrieval mission was too dangerous for a single human. But I couldn't. I had seen the distress signal, faint but persistent, emanating from the surface of a desolate planet. And there was one unmistakable detail. The signature frequency matched that of the alien queen, the ruler of the Cyrilians, whose reputation alone could cause interstellar fleets to retreat. I had no weapons bigger than my survival knife, no armor beyond my standard exosuit jacket, and no backup. All I had was the conviction that a life, no matter how alien, was worth saving. As I descended from the dropship, the wind tore at my jacket and sand scoured my boots. The distress beacon pulsed again, brighter this time. Its origin was a canyon rim a few kilometers ahead, where jagged obsidian cliffs pierced the sky. My heart pounded, not with fear, but with the relentless awareness that this mission was beyond anything I'd ever faced. That's when I saw her. The alien queen emerged from a gash in the canyon wall, her 4 elongated arms moving with fluid grace, her exoskeletal armor cracked and scorched. Her skin glimmered like molten silver beneath the storm, and her eyes, large, multifaceted, unblinking, locked on me. For a heartbeat, I thought she would strike. After all, humans were small and fragile compared to her species. But instead, she staggered toward me, blood, or whatever passed for blood in her physiology, seeping from deep gashes along her thorax. "Stay back," I yelled, raising my knife. She stopped, then slowly lowered her arms, her voice in eerie harmonics I somehow understood. "Help or die with me?" I didn't hesitate. The first contact. Getting her out of the canyon wasn't easy. Every step drew attention. Hulking predators native to Zareth. 9. Creatures whose skin could pierce steel, whose claws could tear through exosuits. They had been attracted by the Queen's distress signal, and they circled like vultures. I realized quickly that fleeing was impossible. My only option was to hold my ground. I swung my knife with precision, cutting tendrils of alien predators that lunged at us. My exosuit jacket was shredded, my forearms scratched raw. Yet somehow, every predator recoiled at the Queen's presence. Her aura, whatever it was, repelled them. It was as if nature itself recognized her authority. "Go faster," she rasped, her voice now a series of clicks and melodic hums. She limped, but she didn't collapse. I lifted her with all the strength I had. Her body was heavier than any human, but not unmanageable. Her legs were spindly yet powerful, and her movements betrayed centuries of combat training. Every few meters, she whispered guidance in her alien language, which my brain, by some miracle, was translating in real time. Through the storm shelter, I pushed through the whipping winds, dodging falling rocks and skeletal branches that tore at our faces. My vision blurred from the sand, sweat, and exhaustion. Yet somehow, I carried her to a plateau overlooking a shallow ravine where the storm's force lessened. I collapsed, gasping, and she slipped from my arms. She didn't rise immediately. I assumed she was unconscious until she reached out, touching my shoulder, her hand warmer than anything I had ever felt in the void of space. Then, astonishingly, she lifted my torn jacket and draped it over herself. For a moment, the world froze. The Queen of the Cyrilians, wearing my ragged human jacket, looked almost human in her vulnerability. And in that moment, I realized something profound. Survival wasn't just about strength, it was about trust. The chase. The respite was brief. The predators had regrouped, forming a pack larger than I could count. Their guttural shrieks echoed across the plateau. I could hear the thunderous approach of something bigger, a colossal predator, possibly the apex of Zareth. 9. Drawn by the queen's scent. We had to move. I hoisted her again. Her weight strained my arms. My hands blistered. The predators were fast. Some could climb, some could fly. I realized my only chance was a risky shortcut through a ravine that descended into a chasm filled with bioluminescent fungi. The fungus emitted a blinding light that temporarily disoriented our pursuers. As we ran, the queen whispered, "Human, fight your heart." I didn't understand the words at first, but the message was clear. She needed me to be relentless. My instinct was survival, but now it was intertwined with something larger. Protecting her wasn't just about heroism, it was about preserving a species, a civilization. A predator lunged from the side, teeth snapping at my legs. I kicked it into the glowing fungi, the spores igniting in sparks. Another came from above. I dove, rolling as claws grazed my back. The queen steadied herself on my shoulders, her weight almost empowering rather than hindering. Together, we became a singular force, human and alien intertwined. By the time we reached a narrow tunnel carved naturally into the cliffside, my arms were shaking, my jacket shredded, and blood streamed from a gash on my side. Yet she leaned on me, and her presence gave me courage beyond what I thought possible. The shelter. Inside the tunnel, the storm's fury was muted. Stalactites dripped strange iridescent liquid, and the air was heavy with the scent of mineral-rich soil. I collapsed, my vision spinning, but she knelt beside me, her many eyes scanning my wounds. "Bleeding, dangerous, stay," she murmured, pressing a warm appendage to my side. Pain radiated through my body, but then I felt something extraordinary. My jacket, now a tattered human relic, protected her body from the cold and stabilized her. She had instinctively used it as armor, a gesture of reciprocity I couldn't have anticipated. I realized then, the queen, despite her power, had entrusted me with her survival. And I, a single human, was entrusted with hers. Her breathing slowed, her eyes closing briefly. The bioluminescence of the fungi cast a soft glow over her alien form, and I could almost see the history of her people reflected in the sheen of her skin. Centuries of leadership, battles, and wisdom condensed into this vulnerable moment. I whispered, "I won't let anything happen to you. Not while I'm here." And in that moment, I truly meant it. The revelation hours passed. The predators had not followed into the tunnel. Something about the queen's presence kept them at bay. Exhausted, I slumped beside her, blood-soaked and barely conscious. Yet I could feel her studying me, as if evaluating humanity itself. Finally, she spoke. "Human, your species, underestimated. Stronger than we imagined. Heart unbreakable." I blinked, trying to comprehend her words. A compliment from a creature of her stature was rare, perhaps unprecedented. She continued, "We owe you. The hive will remember." I didn't know what that meant exactly, but I nodded. I could feel my body failing, my strength fading, but the knowledge that I had earned the respect of an alien queen fueled me in a way nothing else could. And then she did something I would never forget. She leaned forward and wrapped her forearms gently around my chest, draping my jacket over her once more, pressing herself against me for warmth. In the cold darkness of the tunnel, bleeding and broken, we became an improbable pair, human and alien, predator and protector, bound together by trust and survival. The return when dawn broke, the storm had passed. The canyon was empty, save for shattered rocks and glowing fungal spores. I helped her stand, supporting her as she regained balance. My wounds throbbed, and every step reminded me that I was barely holding myself together. She extended one appendage toward the sky, and I watched in awe as a fleet of sleek Cerulean ships emerged from the clouds, drawn by her call. Their design was elegant, lethal, and unlike anything humans had seen. They landed near the canyon's edge, and emissaries rushed to assist her, eyes wide with reverence. She looked at me one last time, her eyes shining with something that transcended words. "Human, you'll be honored. You saved us all." Before I could respond, she was lifted into the air, her fleet ascending, leaving me alone on the canyon plateau. My body ached, blood seeped from multiple wounds, but I couldn't stop smiling. I had faced the impossible and survived. I had saved the Queen, and in doing so, I had proven something humans had always known in their hearts. Courage and determination could defy even the vastest odds of the universe. Epilogue: back on my ship, medics patched me up, muttering about impossible odds and insane human heroics. The story would spread, how a single human had faced the deadliest predators of Zareth, 9, carried the queen of an alien species, and survived. Weeks later, a transmission arrived. It was a single image, the queen, wearing my jacket, standing proudly among her court. Beneath it, a message: "For the human who bled for us, we remember. And in our galaxy, your courage is legend." I stared at it, my body still aching, my hands trembling. And I understood something fundamental about humanity. We are fragile, yes. But in the crucible of the universe, our heart, our courage, and our unwillingness to abandon others make us unstoppable. The jacket, torn, bloodied, and forever changed, hung in my quarters. And every time I looked at it, I remembered the moment I carried the weight of an entire species and how one human, bleeding and broken, could change the course of the galaxy. The Queen had survived because I had risked everything. But in truth, I realized I had survived because she had trusted me, and because humans, when pushed to the brink, never give up. And in that realization, I felt something extraordinary: hope. Not just for me, or for her, but for all of humanity, standing tall against the stars.